Hi, I'm Faith Johnson, and welcome to the SEGA Lounge.
Welcome to the SEGA Lounge, where we celebrate our love for all things SEGA, including the games, the music, and the community. I'm your host, KC. Join me as I talk to different guests and learn more about their projects and passion for SEGA. Hey everyone, welcome to the SEGA Lounge. I hope you're all safe and doing well. This is episode 212 and we're well into March already. I'm still playing and pretty much addicted to Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, so expect an episode dedicated to the game very soon. The only times I put that one down were to play Berserk Boy, which I mentioned last week is also now available, and it's a pretty good action platformer with a fantastic T-Lope soundtrack. What about you? Have you been playing any games lately? Maybe Persona 3 Reload? I know some people have been getting into Penny's Big Breakaway, and that's also on my to-play list once I'm done with Infinite Wealth. But for now, I'm just sticking to Infinite Wealth and Berserk Boy. On another note, remember you can once again get some The SEGA Lounge merch from our store. Check out thesegalounge.com/support and keep an eye on that as the weeks go by because new special edition items will be added to celebrate our 10th anniversary. For now, it seems like our 10th anniversary mug in black is all the rage, so do check it out if you feel like supporting the show. Enough of that though, let's check out this week's guest. This week, it's my pleasure to welcome games journalist and historian, but most of all, big-time gamer Faith Johnson, aka RetroFaith. We talk about how she got started as a gamer and a Sonic fan, how a change in her life led her to her current career, and a more professional involvement with video games, and some of the projects she's involved in. Enjoy this lovely chat with a person who is, above all else, very passionate about video games. Well, hello, Faith. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the SEGA Lounge. How's it going?
Hello, yes. Thank you for having me. It's a real honor.
Oh, my honor to have you here on the show. Actually, to be honest, you should have come sooner. Actually, I've only just asked, and that's on me. But we're here to fix that mistake and to finally have you on the SEGA Lounge and get to know you a little bit better, right? So, let's just start with that. So. Mm-hmm. You're a big gamer, you're a games journalist, you have your own website, you collect retro games, you enjoy games. How did that all start? How did the love for video games start?
Oh, I was very fortunate that I got to play video games when I was very young, 3-4 years old. I didn't really understand them. I didn't really particularly maybe pick up that I liked them by then, but then 1991 Christmas, Sonic and a Mega Drive fell into my life and I never looked back. Sonic's just been my life since then, been the most consistent thing in my life. I love everything about Sonic and Sega in general. I absolutely have a passion for it. It is my life. And I'm very, very fortunate now that I get to make a living from my hobby. Which has always been there. It's something I'll never, hopefully never lose. But that's where it started. 1991 Christmas. Got a Mega Drive with the Sonic 1 pack and Mega Games 1, I think it was. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And so that was it. I'd played video games before. My older brother had a Commodore 64, and we had a Pong machine clone thing, sort of thing from the 80s. So, but I played those very young. Yeah, but 7 years old, 1991. Something in my mind just sparked when I saw that little blue hedgehog. That was it. I've never looked back. Always been, and my blood has always run blue since then.
Yeah, very similar to my experience as well. I don't really remember I know he had something else that just really very recently popped into my brain again as like a very hidden memory that we had something else, like some sort of Pong machine. I don't really know which one, because for me it's always been Sonic 1 on the Mega Drive.
Yeah.
So yeah. What
Yeah.
was it back then, if you can recall, that made you fall in love with the Blue Hedgehog?
I, I've been
Everything.
asked this loads of times because I'm such because of like I'm so into the Sonic community. A lot of people ask me this, and I just think there was like before Sonic, sort of video games, like the characters were kind of sterile. There was they were just little blocks on the screen, and it was I think what it actually was seeing Sonic break that fourth wall. Like you leave him standing still for a bit, and he looks at the screen, tapping his feet, going like, "What you doing?" And I think just something about it, just like this is like a real character, like from a movie or a TV show, more so than we'd ever seen before. I mean, don't get me wrong. There was obviously things like adventure games and things that come out before
Hmm.
Sonic, where
Hmm.
there was some real good character driven stories and stuff with the games. But there was just, but obviously I'm a little kid as well, so I probably wouldn't have played those more complicated games back in the 80s. And I just think they were saying about he was cool, he was hip, he was like you kind of the when you're a kid you're very impressionable and very cool characters like Sonic, very 90s, and the blue, like the electric blue color. That was again that it just ain't clicked. It was just ain't clicked about it, about that character, and also just the gameplay when like again because although I played video games, I hadn't really dived deep into them. I watched my brother play games on Commodore, like loading tapes and this sort of thing. But they were putting that, and just the music, obviously, like the Sega. It was just, it's like when you first watched Jurassic Park when you're a kid. Just something in your brain just sparks that this is special.
Hmm.
It's very hard to quantify. It's very hard to say it's that exact thing. But I just think Sonic being cool, this really new way of playing video games, just the in your face sort of Sega stuff and everything about it, and the music, and just even
Was
the end,
the whole
even the
package.
little badniks looked cool, had the little faces and all that. Dr. Robotnik was a cool character, and and just fell in love with it and never looked back. It's all those things. It's all those things. It's
Yeah,
not one
yeah.
thing.
Yeah, they really did something special with how they marketed it, how they packaged it, and the whole experience was just different and amazing. Yeah,
It
I
was
agree.
cool. Video games were suddenly cool. It wasn't some sad, weird thing that geeks did. Suddenly it was cool.
For sure, for sure. Awesome. Were you did someone else, like in at school, and you told us about your brother already, but like at school growing up, people around you, did they enjoy video games as well, or was it more like a lonely experience?
A bit of both. I grew up in an area where there wasn't a lot of sort of thing. This is it. A lot of the kids used to sort of hang around in the parks and things.
Hmm.
There wasn't a lot of money in the town I grew up in.
Yeah.
There was, I mean, a lot of kids had some sort of games machine. Might be a Game Boy, it might be a NES, it might be a Master System, or it might just be one. Some were lucky enough to have like a proper PC and things like that. But no, I had lots of friends. Yeah, there was friends like video games, and I think I also went to the arcade a lot. Even
Okay.
by the time I was sort of 10, I was sort of playing Street Fighter to like a really good competition standard. So,
Hmm.
and I was going. By the time I was a teenager, I was going to places like Trocadero in London to take part in Street Fighter tournaments and stuff. So, I always had friends around it. It was definitely not a solitary thing, because I went to arcades and tried to play competitively. So obviously that involves other people. So for me, video
Yeah.
games has always been a competition based thing. It's one of the reasons why I love speed running Sonic and Mario and things like that. I want to win. Whereas I appreciate a lot of people that didn't grow up near arcades. For them, it's like playing like a Super Nintendo and Mario and Zelda, or saying, I'm not really into games like one player games. I like games where I can win something. It's only really platformers that I will say was like the only sort of one player games I will play. I'm more about competition. I want to play online against other people. I want to play fighting
Okay.
games. I want to play football games. I want to play a game where I can be the best. So for me, video games has always had that competitive edge, and because I had two brothers, one older, one younger, who also like to play the games with me. Again, that competitiveness come in of who can be the best at things, who can do the level in the fastest time, who can get the highest score, who can get the fastest lap. That was ingrained in me. Video games to me was it's like a challenge. I don't really see it as like I don't really see it as like something to relax to. If anything, it's the opposite. And I grew up with that. And a lot of my friends, because I'm very good at computer games, that they would that they would like to watch me as well. So like it was never solitary, always with other people.
Okay.
But then again, I say that. And on the flip side, this is what makes gaming great, doesn't it? Because there will be times that I love games like sort of like RPGs, like Baldur's Gate, and I like strategy games like Heroes Might Magic and Command and Conquer and stuff. And obviously a lot of that is one player sort of stuff. You don't, but then again, they are online as well. So I'm always in that. I want to play people online against those games, but at the same time, so I don't know what the answer is. The answer is I did have friends.
Okay, exactly. But either competitively or co-op, as long as it's with other people. Usually, that's where your allegiance lies in terms of video games. Really,
it was
right?
back then. Yeah, I mean, the game I play obviously because I work in the industry now, writing about games and stuff. I play a lot of games that are for all different sorts of reasons. So I do play a lot of games on my own now because, like I say, a game I've got a review. So like recently, if we keep it onto Sega, I've been Sega sent me a copy of Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. So I've been reviewing that for a couple of publications. So that's obviously a very one-player game. So I've been sitting in my office playing that game and stuff. But then on the flip side, when it comes to like my recreational games playing, I'm straight on something like Sea of Thieves, Halo whatever I have, Street Fighter, whatever I want to play.
Okay.
And normally it's an online game that I'll play for myself. Like, I don't have to do any work on Sea of Thieves or Street Fighter. So that's me. I get to play the games. Whereas something like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, it will be the sort of game, if I wasn't reviewing it, I might have picked up if I saw it in a sale, but I wouldn't go out. If that makes sense, I wouldn't gravitate towards those kind of insular games natively.
Yeah. Okay. Makes sense. By the way, so side note, since you mentioned Infinite Wealth, is that your kind of game? Not really for recreational purposes, but like, can you appreciate the series as a whole, or is that something that you? I'll tell you my own experience with this. To preface this, I wasn't a big Yakuza, how it used to be called, fan. I thought it wasn't for me. I thought it was too serious until I played one of the games, one of the spin-offs, Dead Souls. That's absolutely bonkers. And I thought maybe the rest is a little bit like this. And they are, even if they're not spin-offs where you're fighting zombies, they're maybe even more bonkers than that. And then I realized it's something special. Is it the same with you, or?
It is, because not to go back on the last question, but even things like one-player games, something like Resident Evil back in the day when that came out on the Saturn, for instance, I would always play that with a friend. I wouldn't get much out of it playing it on my own. But if you're with someone who you can bounce off, like, oh, go in that room or try that and try this, I find these one-player games a lot more enjoyable. But playing something like Yakuza on my own, I have played those games since the start, like on the PS2. Not all of them, and not all of them to completion. But I've played a lot of them, and I've got an appreciation of high quality games, even the one player. Like, so here's the thing. So the reason why I don't own a PlayStation is not because I'm some sort of, have some like allegiance to anything. It's just that most of their games are very, very one player driven, sitting on your own in a dark room. Which is fine. They're great story games. They're great graphics and that. But that kind of gaming doesn't hold interest me. But something like Yakuza, because it has got that bonkers Sega angle to it, where there's all these colours and there's the music and it's a bit gritty and a bit violent as well, which you kind of want, but not overly so. So it's like, so it's horrible or anything. And it's got like a character you can fall in love with, which I think So Ichiban Kasuga, or whatever his name is in the
Yeah.
new the new version of it, rather than the old Yakuza stuff, like these spin-off ones. I really like
Mhm.
him. He's goofy. He reminds me of a Sega character from like the 90s. Like he could easily fit into something like Crazy Taxi, or he could easily fit into something like Jet Set Radio or something. Yeah, and it really, I think, while I'm not really into those kind of games per se, I
Mhm.
do like turn-based RPGs. I play a lot of, I say this a lot, right? But I'm not really into one-player games. I don't half play a lot of RPGs. Like recently, Sea of Stars. Went through Grandeur again on the Dreamcast recently.
Okay.
So I say I don't really like RPGs, but I end up playing a lot of them. But no, I think the Yakuza series in general, I'm not a massive fan. I'm not going to sit. I'm not. It's not like the same as it is for me for something like Sonic or something to that
Mhm.
degree of
Mhm.
love. But I will play them. But yeah, it would have to be, especially these days. I wouldn't rush out and buy it. If I wasn't sort of giving it for my work to review, I'd probably buy it like in 2 years' time when it was like on some Steam sale for like £10 or something. Then I might pick it up to
Yeah.
give it a go. But excellent game, excellent. If you like Sega games and you like a little bit of slightly slow-paced, story-driven game, it's definitely one of Sega's flagship now. It's probably overtaken Sonic as Sega's flagship game.
I
Probably
mean, in
now.
a way, right? In a way, it'll never
Yeah,
be. Sonic will always be Sonic, but I agree to
yeah.
some extent. Yeah, and
I think just
the
because there's more of
quality
an
is
appeal.
just
Yeah, like Sonic is like, it's people that love Sonic and will buy it. But something like the Yakuza series, you would grab in like PlayStation fans who want story driven, great graphics, great presentation, great art design and stuff. Then you'll grab people like Xbox players who want quite adult games and stuff. And then you will grab like obviously the Sega people that love things like their Shenmue and Yakuza in general. So I think there's a lot more of a broad appeal to a series like Yakuza than there is Sonic,
for sure,
which
for sure.
I've just been
And,
platform games
even the
kind of.
genre itself, right? It's not as popular as in the '90s, so it has to be. It makes
Yeah,
sense. It
I
makes
mean,
sense.
the sales of platform games the last sort of 5 to 10 years has really been dropping up. Although indie games, I think the true platform fans like me, I don't really care about new Mario or Sonic games as much as I
Hmm.
sometimes care about intuitive platform games that come out now. Indie games you never hear of. But yeah, that's another. Yes, Yakuza, I really
No,
like
but
it.
for sure.
It does appeal to me, even if it's not like a.
Don't worry, about going on tangents. It's what we're here for. Don't worry. Yeah, yeah. So and by the way, picking up on what you said about being a Sega fan and enjoying this game, especially this last one, the amount of references to other Sega stuff and like little Easter eggs. I am not even close to completing this game. I've been incredibly busy, but I've been playing it like on and off for the since it came out. And I was playing it last night a little bit, and I don't remember what it was. Oh, a reference to the Game Gear.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, well, that's
there's like a
yes, where they're
side
walking around the
story.
streets talking. Yeah, talking
Exactly,
about battery
and
life on the Game Gear. That was
exactly,
brilliant. That bit.
exactly.
Yeah,
Like, and then Ichiban says, so a character says, "Oh, it's like remember that handheld console from the '90s, the Game Gear. So this device's battery is just like that. Like, oh, that's a
yeah.
very obscure reference," says Ichiban. And I enjoy that little bit of trivia there of like an Easter egg and reference to Sega stuff. And there's a lot
Oh,
of
it's
that in this
everywhere.
game.
Everywhere you go
Yeah,
in that game, everywhere you turn. If you really look hard for it, you can see it. And then
yeah,
obviously, what I love about the Yakuza, and I know this has been going on since Shenmue, but the arcade machines
yeah.
where you can turn a corner in one of the cities, and you're like, oh, what's this? And it's got it's like arcade. So you walk in there as your character, and you've got like virtual fighter machines and super hang-on machines and stuff, and Sega Bass
Mhm.
Fishing, and you're like, and you can just go up there, put your coin in your stuff, and it's just like, oh, do you know what? It's just only Sega do that stuff so well, right?
That's
Only
true.
Sega do that nostalgia. They are the best for nostalgia. I don't care what anyone else says. Capcom are quite good at it, but no one else. smashes the nostalgia for their own franchises like Sega does. They
Agreed.
really don't.
Agreed. Okay, so let's focus back on you because we're not here to talk about Ichiban Kasuga. Who cares about that?
Ichi-san!
So you mentioned like Sonic as a pivotal moment in your life as a gamer. Growing up, so did you stay a Sega fan? Did you branch out to other systems and like brands as well? Because no worries if you
Yeah,
strayed
no,
away from
I'm a gamer
Sega.
through and through. So yeah, I had Sega
Okay.
Mega Drive, and that was great. And then when it come to and during that time as well, I then saw like the Master System converter. So I went back a little bit to play some of those games. Then when it come to the fifth generation, I got to say I was one of those saps that bought a Sega Saturn straight away. I got no, I didn't import one from Japan. No, sorry, I didn't import one. Dreamcast was my first import console. Was it? Or was it? Can't remember. Anyway, I had a Saturn with Virtua Cop because Virtua Cop just one of the best games ever. So, but I also then later ended up getting a PlayStation.
Okay.
More to do with the fact that I can't remember. There was some game that came out on PlayStation that was Crash Bandicoot. Yeah, I love that. I love my platform game, so I needed that. And then I was very fortunate. I had like a job and that by that stage, and because I love my video games. When the N64 came out, I didn't get it straight away because I had a go on it. I completed Mario 64 with my friend, and I thought it was amazing, of course, because big platform fan and seeing a 3D platformer done in that way was mind blowing and all that. But I didn't get an N64 until GoldenEye. Oh man.
Okay.
Oh, again, this competitive game. As soon as I played
Yeah.
that, as soon as I saw it, I went out and I got the money to give it. But no, and then I was always loyal to Sega though. The Saturn started dropping off. I lost a bit of interest, I must admit, because as much as I loved all the arcade games that were coming out on it, the problem was I was at that time I was still going to the arcade in London and in my hometown, so I was playing things like Virtual Fighter and that in the arcade. So while the Saturn's brilliant, I think not getting a proper Sonic game for it really killed it for me. I was so looking forward to Sonic Extreme. Like I was waiting for pictures and pictures, and yeah, it looked a bit strange, and it didn't look like it was ever going to be as good as Mario 64. But it didn't matter because it was Sonic in a new
Because
way.
yeah, exactly.
And then when they said no, that's all finished, and that all those horrible stories about the development that which have been explained now. But yeah, no. Then I got as soon as the Dreamcast was announced, I imported one that straight away. So I had a Dreamcast in. I think I got it just before Christmas 1998. I got a Dreamcast, and Sonic wasn't out then. Sonic came out a week or two later. But as much as I care, as much as I wanted Sonic Adventure, I was more bothered, especially at this time. I was more bothered about the fighting games because on the Saturn they
Okay.
were amazing with the megabyte carts and stuff. But then on the Dreamcast with the Naomi hardware, oh my god, like Marvel versus Capcom, oh my god, like Capcom versus SNK,
SNK, yeah.
and all the King of Fighters games and Guru Market, all these games were like announced, and I was like, I have to get that machine because like looking at it and what people are saying is it's the arcade games we're playing because I was playing some of those Naomi games just before the Dreamcast came out in an arcade. They were like the newest games out, like Marvel versus Capcom and things like that. And knowing that Sega had just said we're going to use that hardware in like Neo Geo had done, we're just going to use our arcade hardware in a console. I knew the magic of that because I played a lot of SNK games. Like, I knew how powerful it was, and I tell straight away. Yeah, I don't think that was the first console I imported though. I think for some reason I imported a. I want to say I imported a Japanese Saturn at some point before that for some reason. Can't remember why.
Okay.
Can't remember, but yeah, no, always loyal to Sega. But I always liked all video games. I've never been. I had a PC as well around the time of the Dreamcast. I just managed to get a PC, and all these games like Baldur's Gate and all these strategy games that I love now all behind me. I've got big box PC game collection. I'm a huge PC gamer, and so yeah, I know. So Sega's the king for me. But I like all video. I love Nintendo. I love Sony. I love Xbox. Play a lot of Xbox now. Xbox is probably like my go-to along with Switch.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, although as much as I love Sega and I will always buy anything new with Sega, I wasn't like blinded. I wasn't like one of these like, oh, I have to have Sega and Sony's rubbish. I was always still
Yeah.
like, but the PlayStation's still got great games on it, so like let's have that as well. I
Let's
was pretty
enjoy
greedy.
everything, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
same with
That's true.
N64. Like some of my favorite games of all time on
Mhm.
N64, like Rogue Squadron, one of my favorite games of all time. Banjo Kazooie, love that game. Diddy Kong Racing. So, yeah, I was never one of these people like that was so loyal that I would be blinkered.
Yeah. Yeah. That's not the way to go. Yeah, don't do that. Uh, so, by the way, since you've mentioned favorite games of all time, can I ask you to like list five, like your top five of all time, regardless of platform, regardless of publisher, developer, whatever, five games? Can you do that, or is it too hard?
No, that's fine. I'll do it. I'll do it reverse order. So five
Okay,
going
okay.
back up. So in fifth place would be a game called Cool Borders 2 on the PlayStation. This is why I had a PlayStation. Actually, there's a series of snowboarding games called Cool
Yes.
Borders 2, Cool Borders, and yeah, they're very. Even at the time, people were like this is too hard. This is difficult. But I'm a big extreme sports fan. So Cool Borders was such a hard game, but not hard because it was made poorly. It was just a hard game to finish and complete. Fell in love with that series. So Cool Borders 2, specifically on the PlayStation, is one of my favourite games of all time. Fourth place would be Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2. Again, a game that just absolutely resonates with me as a gamer. It's difficult to be good at it. The music's cool, the graphics are cool. You can get so good at it that you can break the game engine good. Third place would be. Oh, I've got to be careful because I've only got three more choices. So I will go with. I will go with as my third
It's like
place game.
it's
I will go
today's
with
top
Super.
five, right? So it
I've
can
got to be
change
careful.
tomorrow.
No, I've got to be careful here because I've only got a few. I was going to go with Super Mario World, but I'll go with Banjo Kazooie because I think that encapsulates a lot of things I love about platform gaming.
Okay.
Second place. Now, this is where people go, gasp, your favorite game isn't a Sonic game. My second favorite game would be Sonic 3 and Knuckles.
Okay.
My overall favorite game of all time has got to be Heroes of Might and Magic 2.
Okay.
Which is a 1997 turn-based strategy game which I play religiously, and that is my favorite game of all time.
Awesome. Do you still play it today?
I play it all the time.
All the time?
I've been involved in the development of the remake and all sorts of other things, and I managed to finally interview the guy that made it, John Van Canegum. He owned a company during the 80s and 90s called New World Computing, which were bought out by Ubisoft. He was very media shy. He didn't like the media. He didn't like to wait. It took me 6 years to get the interview. And when I finally got it, I was absolutely over the moon. It was like the peak of my career. I needed to do this for me, not just for the fans. And we found out so much information about the game that we didn't know before as a community. And everyone was like, "Oh my God, Faith, tell us more!" And I'm working at getting more of that information out on another piece. But yes,
Awesome.
I play it all the time. It's the game. I've probably played that game more than I've played any other game in the world, like hours wise.
Okay, yeah. But so, what's the appeal of that game for you? Since it's not really, it's not like an online fighting game or anything. So, what's the appeal there? What makes it stand out for
People ask
you?
me this because my go-to games are like arcade games. Like, if someone said to me, "Here, you've got half an hour, play a game," I wouldn't be jumping at something like that. I'd be like, "Right, get Sonic on, let's speed run it and complete it," or "Let's get a fighting game on," or let's get a shoot 'em up on or something. But yeah, Here's My Magic 2. It's the perfect blend of like Tolkien style fantasy setting, which I'm a massive fantasy fan, like Tolkien, Middle Earth, all that. Beyond computer games, like Middle Earth and fantasy and all that is my thing. So it's got that perfect blend of that setting with all the creatures, halflings and giants and titans and dragons and goblins and God knows what as your creatures. And then it's also got it's one of these games where it's really bizarre in the presentation. And I don't mean bizarre in a negative way. I mean, it's got these almost like colourful, cartoony graphics that like sit somewhere between like really high 8-bit and really low 16-bit, if that makes sense. Like the kind of in between, and it's got that kind of look to it. But at the same time, there's something about the strategy, and people that played it a lot know what I'm talking about when I say this. Is there is something about the balance between the game, the balance of like the army management. It's what's called a 4 by strategy game. So anyone that doesn't know what that means, it's like you've got resource management, town building, map exploration, or like overworld exploration, and then battling. So but that is always really hard to balance. So it's up there with games like Alpha Centauri, on that sort of level of the gameplay balance. Because sometimes with these kinds of games, one thing's too strong or one thing's too weak or whatever. And in that game, Heroes of Might and Magic 2, it just blends perfectly. That it is like you're on a knife edge all the time. It's like the ultimate game of chess. Like you don't know what the opponent's going to do next, so you have to kind of counteract that. But only if even when you get to know the AI really well, that it might just throw up something random and just take a weird turning on the map. You're like, no, you should have gone that way, and now you've messed up my whole plan. And to get good at it and to play it, to win it, you have to be a few steps ahead. It is like chess. I think that's what the appeal is.
So, yeah, probably that's what I was gonna say. Yeah. So you like to be good at games. You like to really.
It's important to me to win a video game. If
exactly.
I lose at a video game, I get the ump. I get fuming if I lose at a video game. Yeah.
So that's it. That's probably that's the key here. You have to really master it and be the best. Yeah. Awesome. Thank you for that top 5. That was somewhat surprising, I think. I was expecting Sonic to be at the top. Yeah.
Everyone always says that when I get asked that. And as much as I love Sonic, it's not the best games I've ever played.
Okay. No, that's probably, that's you stay true to yourself. That's the most important thing. Yeah. By the way, and I was looking behind you, and I can see like the Dreamcast sign, all the Dreamcast peripherals, all the Dreamcast games. Am I wrong in saying that you have a complete UK collection of Dreamcast games?
Yeah, so I have full. It's actually a full European set.
Oh, okay.
Bar a couple of variants now, which I'll get to. But yeah, full UK set. Yeah, full PAL set, whatever you want to say. And I've also got like every accessory and every magazine and demo disc released in the UK, and I've probably got something close to 300 Japanese and American games. And I'm not sure if you can see it properly here, but the Dreamcast collection goes way
goes
beyond
up.
what you
Goes
can
up.
see. Yeah, so I just love Dreamcast. As you can
for
see,
people listening in, it goes
Dreamcast
really up
boxes,
to the ceiling. Yeah.
It's pretty much what I do is collect Dreamcast and Sonic. You can't see it here, but my Sonic collection is in my living room, and it's a whole wall that's bigger than the. But yeah, So what you can see here is this is all Dreamcast up and down here. And then on this side, it's just loads of random video games and books and DVDs and all my stuff for my work and stuff. Yeah.
What is it about the Dreamcast that makes you want to collect all these games?
I just think that time in video games, it was the greatest. Like, I don't think video games got to that height. The 6th generation, from the Dreamcast through to the Xbox, the original Xbox, I think that is like the height of gaming for what we know. So we had so many new, I mean, obviously the 5th generation, we started seeing 3D games and all this sort of stuff, which is fine. But it wasn't until the Dreamcast and then like PS2 and GameCube and all that they really nailed down what 3D gaming was, that we know it today, And just the Dreamcast, things like I can still play Phantasy Star Online. I love it. I play it all the time, albeit I do play it on a GameCube quite a bit more. So I've got my GameCube controller. The only reason why I play it on GameCube beyond Dreamcast is because the GameCube's got more levels on it and more stuff to do, more tasks, quests and things. But I still play on Dream. You can just see this side of me. I've got my GameCube and my Dreamcast set up, and they're just for Phantasy Star. So both those setups are just all they do is play Phantasy Star. Play that all the time. I should have put Phantasy Star in my top 5. Anyway, no, but and the Dreamcast was just so different. Like, not just the online. I mean, the online stuff was a big part of it. I mean, playing a console online was mind-blowing. But it was more to do with the fact that I think it just sums up Sega for me. And I don't mean Sega like mucking things up with hardware. When you actually study the Dreamcast and start collecting for it, the amount of bizarre peripherals for it is just out of this world. Like just the most quirky things like microphones and karaoke sets and all these. It's just some of the peripherals I've got. It's got webcam. You can actually do like Zoom calls on it, which I've done with friends, and we're just like, this is so cool. We're doing a Zoom call on a Dreamcast, like we are now. We can do this on Dreamcasts today. It's just insane how far it was the future. It was the future.
Yeah.
It was just a shame that the rest of the gaming world didn't really catch up with it in time to keep it going. And I'm not going to sit here and go, oh, my poor Sega. But it was one of those things where you just like, yeah, do you know what? The PS2 probably was a better console, but also just for me personally, as an arcade gamer, it was like the rebirth of the Neo Geo, like the arcade at home, like the actual hardware. Not just saying it's an arcade game like Mega Drive was or Saturn was or whatever. It was the actual arcade games. If not, they were better.
Yeah,
like some games
usually.
like Marvel vs. Capcom 2 play better on the Dreamcast than they do in the arcade because they've been slightly... And it's things like that where, for me, as that kind of gamer, everything shone on it. Whereas PS2... Don't get me wrong, PS2 is like the best console ever or whatever. But a lot of the games are like these one-player type games, Resident Evil type games, Grand Theft Auto, which are great games, but for me just held no competitive value. Whereas the Dreamcast, everything about it had just like, it was just fight. Basically, all the fighting games and all the shoot 'em ups on it, for me, just makes it the best console of all time.
Okay,
that's it.
Yeah. They started that generation at a disadvantage already, so they were already playing a losing game, but the amount of things they did with that console, the amount of weird games, like Sega-like games that we got.
Yeah, Sega Gaga, Seaman. There's just like Crazy Taxi,
Jet Set Radio, Crazy Taxi, all of that. Yeah, that was just
Jet Set Radio. What a game! Like even today, you play that today, and you're like, this feels so fresh. So
holds
different.
up. That's the thing, right? So many of these Dreamcast games still hold up, even visually. Of course, they're not like realistic graphics, but the art style is amazing.
As a games historian, right, I play a lot of games for various reasons, and I have to look at them critically. And I'll try and take my Sega hat off, right? But I do a lot of work looking at PS2 games, GameCube games, Dreamcast games, and all that. And when you play these Dreamcast games today, because of the VGA output, like the 480p crisp output, they still look, and because of the way the graphics were made for it in general, they look really sharp and good today. But then I play a lot of PS2 games, and it was the start of what I call the mud section of gaming, the mud era, where everyone wanted it looking gritty and raw and new. So there was a lot of browns and a lot of greys. And you play something like Grand Theft Auto 3 now. It doesn't look like a bad game, but it doesn't pop or ping as much as something like a Jet Set Radio Future today. You know.
Agreed. Yeah. Okay, so I can sit here and talk about the Dreamcast for days. So yeah, let's move on. We're gonna take a quick break very soon, but I wanted to ask you a question. So how did you get into games journalism? What led you down that road, down that path?
Okay, I'll do the short version because otherwise we get into a bit. It's not that I don't have any problem talking about my personal story, but it kind of diverts massively from gaming. But about 5 years ago, I was doing a job in City of London, in a finance, like doing financial work. Had done it for a long time. As a career, it was well paid. There was nothing wrong with it as a job. But cut a long story short, without getting into all the emotional, mental health stuff, I just woke up one day and said, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to live my dreams. So I quit this job out of the blue. Everyone thought I was crazy, just giving away this amazing job in London. And I just decided I was going to have a break from work, and I was going to just do something else with my life. I hadn't really quite worked out exactly what that looked like, but this is about 4.5 years ago. Anyway, so I quit the job, and then COVID hit, in the March.
Yeah.
So I'd had a few months just off. I finished work September 2019. Was it 2019? What year are we in? Yeah. So September 2019, I quit this job. I was going to just, because I've worked full time since I was like 16, 17. So I just wanted a break. You know, like sometimes in life, you just need a little bit of a break. Maybe
Yeah.
some people might go traveling for a month or two or something. But I had one of those moments in life where I was just like, I just need to focus on myself as a person. And during that time, then, so we're now about Christmas 2019, and I was starting to look for some work and getting back into some. I started doing a little bit of writing about video games. I was trying some YouTube videos. I was doing Twitch, and I was just doing all sorts of things because I had all this free time.
Yeah.
Then COVID hit, and I couldn't get a job, like going back to what I was normally be doing. So I just started writing. I started this blog called RetroFaith. Which was and RetroFaith was like a character I had kind of jokingly put together on Twitch because I used to go on these like what the viewers started calling retro rampages, where I'd get super emotional about a topic and just usually just rant about them and stuff. And then if I was playing a game and I failed at the speed run or something and I lost, so the retro and then this character RetroFaith came about. I've not randomly, because I was still doing. I was always a good writer. Like throughout my job working in the city, I wrote lots of letters, so I always knew I had a skill to put words together for people to be able to understand. And so I was writing about video games. I didn't really think much about it. I was just thinking, I'll just write about my favorite games. I'll do little reviews. I'll do retrospectives. And then I've got a couple of interviews with people. And I was like, this is interesting. I started getting this little bit of interest in it. And then a magazine called Fusion Magazine. It's in the UK. It's like a little fanzine thing we write. And the guy there got in touch. One of the editors there got in touch. Went, do you want to do some stuff for us? And I was like, go on then, because I haven't got a job at the moment because it's COVID and I am starting to struggle a bit. So yeah, let's go for it. And it just started there. And before I knew it, I was then building my skills up, getting a bit of book work. And then I got the real privilege of being invited to go and write for Retro Gamer magazine, which I still do now, which is a real privilege. And then because I got some followers on like Twitter and Facebooks and things, I started getting a bit of a name for myself as like having good opinions. Well, I'm assuming that people thought they were good opinions about the game industry. And then I got contacted by BBC to be contracted as one of their freelancers for their gaming. I don't do a lot of work for the BBC, but yeah, I go on like their radio. Say there's a big story like Grand Theft Auto's coming out, or Harry Potter game, or something big, or a new
they
Call
think
of
it's
Duty
worth
game
reporting
or Halo
on.
game.
Yeah.
I'll go on the radio and talk to them about it and stuff, and just like a talking head, they call it. And I've done it so I do that for news, occasionally on TV, been on TV a couple of times doing that, which is always it's really scary, but it's quite cool when like your mum's like, you're on telly. It all just kind of fell into my plate like naturally. But now I'm seeing it as a job and a career. So it's gone from I'll give this a go about 3 or 4 years ago to now I'm now doing book work. So I get contracted to do books and things, helping with book work. I write for 5 magazines, I think now at the moment. And I write for lots of websites as well. I help run one website as pretty much the editor in all but name. And then I do sort of feature things for, Nintendo Life and Time Extension and I do a lot of stuff for those, and it's just there, and it's all just freelance, and I absolutely love it, and I don't know where it's going to take me. I kind of just fell into it, realizing I had these skills. I gave up trying to do YouTube videos and stuff because I just didn't have the editing skills, but I focused on the writing and the broadcasting, and it seemed to have worked. But I love what I do. I feel really privileged that I earn money through a hobby, which
that's the dream, right?
Yeah, it's the dream. I mean, it's not a lot of money. I'm never going to earn as much money as I did working in the city. But the offset is money wasn't making me happy. So what makes me happy is someone's going to pay me money to write about Sonic the Hedgehog. That's to me absolutely brilliant. I feel very privileged every day I wake up.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Faith, for sharing your story. We'll talk a little bit more later, but let's take a quick break because there's something very important coming up next. You're like, what? How important? Very important. It's something we do every time we have a guest on the show called the SEGA Lounge Challenge.
Now that you know our guests, it's time to put them to the test. It's the moment we've waited for and the moment they dread.
Welcome to your doom.
I mean, welcome to the SEGA Lounge Challenge.
Oh, God.
Exactly. What's the SEGA Lounge Challenge? So I do something different every time, but we're in the presence of like video game journalism royalty here, a video game historian. So I thought to myself, let's do the ultimate Sega fan challenge. Okay, which is a little something I put together sometimes with some of my guests. So there are 10 rounds. Can be questions or musical rounds. And you can pick between easy or hard questions. Okay, so easy questions grant you 1 point, hard questions 2 points. So you can get up to 20 points. So I think 10 is a decent challenge, right? A decent ceiling to get to. But since you're competitive, I think we can aim higher. I don't know.
Yeah,
you tell me. You tell me.
I've set myself up for it, really, haven't I? Okay, no, this is fine. This is fine.
Okay, so round number 1 is a question. And as I said, you can pick between easy or hard questions. They're all Sega questions. Some probably Sonic, some probably not. So which one would you like to start with?
I'll go hard first.
Okay. Many people do. They regret it, though. I'm maybe not. Okay. Hard question for Faith. Yeah. Let's do this one. Did you have a Game Gear growing up or later?
Oh, yeah. Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Yes, I do have
Yeah.
Game Gear.
Okay.
God.
Released only in Europe, Sega Game Pack 4-in-1 is a compilation of 4 games for the Game Gear. Faith is nodding. Yes. Included in this compilation was a simple tennis game.
Yeah.
Who was the umpire in this game?
Alex Kidd.
Alex Kidd, you say. Are you sure?
It's not Sonic. Is it? Oh, it's Sonic. Is it Sonic? Because they copied the Mario. Oh, shoot. I can see the game now.
I thought you were going to give me an answer like immediately because you were like, yes, Sega Game Pack 4-in-1. Yes. The tennis game. Yes.
Yeah. I've seen it.
Okay, I don't know. Which one
do you
do you go
what?
with?
Do you know what? I'll go with Sonic. I know it's not, but I'm going to say Sonic. Just because I'm imagining it like the Mario scenario now. Or is it I'll just say Sonic. I'll just say Sonic. It's easiest.
So final answer?
Yeah,
Sonic?
Go for it. Yeah.
Should I lock it in? Yeah.
Lock it in. Okay,
it's locked in. So your first instinct was to say Alex Kidd, right?
Yeah.
Why?
I just visualized it. I've seen it now. But do you know what? I'm getting mixed up with though? Is on the Game Boy. I play tennis a lot on that, and Mario's the umpiring, and that's it. Yeah. I can't say I played a lot of 4-in-1 Game Pack as much as I would like to. But yes, as soon as you said it and you said tennis, I was thinking this is going to be one of those who's in it. Go on, tell me.
Okay, so the correct answer It's Sonic, yes. Well
Oh,
done.
God.
2 points. Good
I
job.
can see it now. I'm visualizing it now.
You
yeah.
saved it. You saved it in the end. Okay, great job. Okay, so 2 points. That's amazing. Great start. Let's go with the first song for round 2. And so every time we have one of these songs, it's just a 10-second long clip. You get 1 point for the game and 1 point for the level, whatever it plays in the game, whatever you can tell me that shows me that you know where it is, okay? When it plays. Got it? So ready for the first song?
Yep.
Let's take a listen.
Oh my God, I'm imagining that it's got the wavy thing on it. What game is that? As you go through the screens, there's like an effect on it that waves. Oh wow, it's not Shinobi. Oh my God, I know that music really well. Do, 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 do. And the bit where it goes afterwards. Oh God, what game is that? It's an older Sega game on the Mega Drive. Oh God, I played this game a lot. Oh, that music is so familiar. Oh, it's Echo. It's Echo, and it is what level is that? Echo. It's Echo the Dolphin. Echo Dolphin 1, and the level is. I'm going to say the second level, the caverns.
Are you sure?
I've got to. I can't remember the level exactly, but it's definitely Echo.
Okay. So for the game, you say Echo the Dolphin, and for level or whatever, you say the second one, the one with the caverns. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is actually an opening theme to a game.
Oh.
So no 2 points here. Just maybe a chance for 1 point. Is it the opening to Echo the Dolphin, though?
Yeah, the title screen. Yeah.
Is it?
I don't know. Don't know now.
It is. Yes.
It's not
1
the caverns.
point.
Damn
It's not
it.
the caverns. No. I think you were. I think you. It's called Under Caves, right? This is the level. I think it is.
Yeah,
But
Under
that's not
Caves,
the
yeah.
that's not the
Alright.
the soundtrack. No, this was the opening, and like that.
At least I knew it was Echo, though. I
wow.
knew it was Echo.
Yeah, you were on the money there. Like wow,
As
and
soon as
the
I knew
waves
it.
and-
As soon I
Yeah,
could
yeah.
carry on the tune in my head, and I was like, I played this
It's
game
very
a
specific,
lot.
very
Yeah.
specific. Yeah. Well done. So 3 points so far. There's 1 more point, 3 total. That's amazing.
Okay.
Round 3. Easy or hard, Faith?
Is it a question?
Yeah. Easy or
I'll
hard?
go hard again on the question.
Ooh.
I'll go hard. I'll try. I'll go for it. I'll go for it.
Ooh. Okay. This is actually, I think it's hard, but you have some choices. It's a multiple choice question.
Oh, blimey.
It's a Sonic question.
Okay.
In Sonic the Hedgehog Pocket Adventure. Okay, yeah, you're like, yeah, thumbs up. A version of which classic Sonic song is played in Aquatic Relics Zone Act 1? So there's a level called Aquatic Relics Zone with an X.
Yep.
In Act 1, which one of these classic Sonic songs is covered in this soundtrack? So, A, Mushroom Hill Zone Act 1 from Sonic & Knuckles. B, Hydro City Zone Act 1 from Sonic 3. Or C, Labyrinth Zone from Sonic 1. Mushroom Hill, Hydro City Zone Act 1, Labyrinth Zone.
I was playing that game on the Neo Geo Pocket recently. I can't remember the level. I mean, I know the level name. Can't remember the music. I'll say Labyrinth, though. I don't know for sure. Or this is just a 50-50 or a 30-30 guess. I'll say Labyrinth Zone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, lock it in. I can't remember. I played that game recently, though. I can't remember the reference.
Okay, so you're going C, Labyrinth Zone, Sonic 1.
I will do, yeah.
Okay, I'm going to tell you B is not the right answer. So it's not Hydro City or Hydrocity or whatever you want to call it from Sonic 3. That's not the right answer. So is it Labyrinth or is it Mushroom Hill? Well, Labyrinth would make more sense, right?
But it's not.
But it's not. It's not. For some reason, it's Mushroom Hill. In Act 2, Act 2 has Hydro City Zone. Act 1, I think.
Okay.
It's the first.
Yeah. Never mind.
It's okay. It's okay. No worries. So we have more rounds to go. Round 4, another song. Okay, ready?
Mm-hmm.
I think this will be very easy for you. Let's take a listen.
That is Sonic and Knuckles, or Sonic 3 Knuckles, Sky Sanctuary Zone.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Of course. Yeah, classic. Classic.
Too well. Yes.
Yeah.
That's
Okay, so 2 points.
Fine. Yeah.
Well done. Well done. So that's 5 points. We're halfway there in terms of the minimum score. Round 5. Question again. Easy or
I'm
hard?
going to go easy this time because
Easy?
the hard ones, I think I'm always close, but I think I need to just keep the points coming in. So I'll go easy.
That's smart. That's smart.
Yeah.
Okay. This is an easy one. And it's a retro one as well. What is the name of the duo of extraterrestrial rappers who end up crash landing on Earth and going in search of their ship's missing pieces?
Toe Jam and L. Oh, I had a poster. I got my posters. I got my Toe Jam and L posters.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, I see it. Panic on Funkatron. I'm happy, but I'm not saying it's right. I'm just happy because there's a poster of Toe Jam and Earl. Is it right though? Is it the correct answer though?
Yes, it is. If it's not, I've missed some weird game that I should have been playing.
It is. It is 1 point. Well done. Yeah, I don't know of many extraterrestrial duos of rappers.
No,
Yeah.
not many.
Not many. Okay, great job, Faith. So, round 6 is another song. Ready?
Go for it.
Let's take a listen.
Oh, Streets Race 2. What level? That's first level. Where's the Streets of Rage 1? Ooh! I'm just trying to remember. I'm playing that music. Streets of Rage 1. It's Streets of Rage 1. Is it the beach or the second level? It's the second or third level. It's fairly early. Oh wow! Right, Streets of Rage 1. I'm gonna call it as the beat. No, it's not the. No, the beach is different. It's level 2. It's level 2. Streets of Rage 1, level 2. Oh, it's not though, is it? Oh shoot! Oh, yeah, it's definitely Streets of Rage 1. Was it the boat? Was it the fourth? Oh, do you know what? I'm gonna have to just have a guess at. Yeah. I've got myself all confused now. I'm hearing the jing jing of the go sign, and just what level is that on? I'm trying to think how the rest of the music goes and what boss is at the end of that. Hey, I'm going to say Streets of Rage 1, and I'm going to say level 4.
Final answer.
Oh, yeah.
Faith is not really that confident about this answer.
I'm not, no.
It's like, nah. Okay, maybe. We'll see. So let's start with the game. The first thing you said was Streets of Rage 2, but then you changed it to Streets of Rage 1. Good thing you did. Because it is Streets of Rage 1. It is 1 point. 1 point. Which level, though? You said level 4. You said level 2, level 4, level beach, level whatever.
I lost the plot.
Yeah, but you never said The first level,
First
round
level.
1, which is fighting. The song is called "Fighting in the Street." Round 1 of Streets of Rage 1. So no points
Over
there.
40. Over 40.
Yeah. But
Damn
good
it.
job. But 1
Right.
point. 1 point still. So that's
Better than
nice.
no points. Yeah.
Exactly. So, tallying this up, so 2, 3, 5, 6, 7 points so far. Very close. 4 rounds left. Round 7
Wow.
is question time. Easy or hard?
Oh, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to go hard. I'm going to go
Okay.
for it. Don't know
Let's
why.
go hard. Let's go hard. Okay. Let's go hard. And let's go with this question right here. In round 6 of the Japanese version of The Revenge of Shinobi, which is actually titled The Super Shinobi in Japan, you fight a boss called the Metamorpher, who takes on 2 forms, both resembling to very famous comic book heroes. Name one of them.
Level 6.
Don't overthink it. Just
Spider-Man.
does whatever a spider can.
Yeah, Spider-Man and Venom, isn't it?
Just need to name one. So
Spider-Man. I'll go.
Spider-Man?
I'm trying to put the level orders in my head, and I'm just thinking Spider-Man. It's got to be the Spider-Man one.
okay. So final answer, right?
Yes.
She says very confidently. So one of them is Batman. Okay. Is the other one Spider-Man?
In the Japanese version. Yeah. Oh no, I might mess up here. Yeah.
You said Spider-Man.
Hmm.
Correct. Well done.
I was trying
Spider-Man
to think of
and
the levels.
Batman.
I knew the superheroes because there's obviously there's one that looks like the Terminator, and there's also I know all the. It was just when you the level is yes, level.
It's
Yeah. Okay,
it's
glad I
there
got it right.
to confuse people. Yeah, that's what I'm here for.
Yeah.
Okay, 2 points. That's 9. Well done. Well done. Very close to that 10-point mark. So it's time for our final song.
Okay.
Round 8. But there's a twist, Faith. Because it's the final one, it's in reverse.
Oh,
Okay?
blimey.
It's in reverse. The other twist, though, is that you only need the game. So, because it's harder, so you just need the game. Are you ready for 10 seconds of in reverse Sega song goodness?
Yes, I am. Yeah.
Let's take a listen. Yeah.
Oh, blimey.
Yeah.
Blimey.
Is in pain.
What, you just need the name of the song or the game?
Just the name of the game.
That means Sonic Adventure 2. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at your facial expression to just judge the level of confidence there. I'd say like about a 15%. So Sonic Adventure 2. Yes?
I have to go. Yeah, there's nothing else that's making me sort of think it could be that. Even though there's plenty of games it could be, but I'm just trying to. I just picked up on one little bit there that made me think. That sounds like something in a Sonic Adventure 2 song.
Okay, fair enough. So what I'll do is, instead of telling you the answer right now, I'll play the song not in reverse.
Yeah,
that little bit. So maybe it'll help.
I'll take Let's go race. Well, I was totally wrong there.
Yeah, Daytona. So unfortunately, no points
wrong.
there.
Yeah.
No points. But nothing's lost because we have the final 2 rounds. Faith.
Okay.
So question 9 is the only one that the last one you can choose between an easy and a hard one, because number 10 is always hard. So
Okay.
you need 1 point.
I'll go easy then, just to get the point. Get
Okay.
half the marks. Yeah.
That sounds like a good idea. Okay. So let's go easy. Let's go with this particular question. I asked this a lot of times. Upon starting a game of Space Harrier, yeah, what words are you greeted with? There's a
Welcome
voice.
to the Fantasy Zone. Get ready.
Yes, finally, finally, someone gave me the correct answers. Thank you. You just, I can only give you 1 point, but you deserve more.
I'm glad I didn't. At least, like you said, if I get to 10, I've hit what is expected. So at least it's not a complete failure.
Not many people get 10, so this is amazing. Well done, that's 10. So for glory, Faith. Question 10, round 10 is a hard question. Okay. So no pressure at all. And this is your final question for the SEGA Lounge challenge this week. Let's go with a good one. Yeah, let's go with this. In the promotional material for which game did Sega claim that RPG has changed?
RPG has changed. Oh. Now, my gut feeling is telling me Shenmue, but that's obviously not like traditionally seen as an RPG. But I know Sega didn't care about that. RPG has changed. RPG in the promotional material. RPG has changed. So could it be one of the early Phantasy Stars? I doubt it. Maybe Phantasy Star Online. RPG has changed. Shining Force, possibly. No, that doesn't ring a bell. It's. Do you know what?
RPG has changed. That's a big claim.
It is a big claim. Now, I would in my mind, I'm just thinking if I love Fantasy Star Online, that would have probably come across my brain a lot, seeing, because I always follow stuff in that and look up stuff in that more than I do anything else. Big claim, Fantasy Star Online, maybe. I'm just trying to think of around that time the sort of claim Sega they were doing a lot of things like gaming is. Yeah, do you know what? It sounds more like a Dreamcast claim than it does before. Or is it Genesis? No, because if it was Genesis era, if it was like that was more in America, and they didn't have a lot of RPGs in America that they would have been promoting more than things like Sonic and arcade games. So I'm just going to go with my gut and say Fantasy Star Online. I don't think it is, but I'm just Go on. I don't know is the answer. It's not something that rings a bell instantly. So I'll just go with Fantasy. I'm just trying to think logic here. Fantasy Star Online.
I can see the logic there. Yeah. So final answer, Fantasy Star Online.
Yeah, it would have to be, because I don't know. Okay.
What was the first thing you said when you heard the question?
Shenmue. Sorry.
Yes, it was Shenmue. Shenmue was they say RPG has changed. Yeah, it's not really an RPG, but it has RPG, elements of RPG, right? So yeah.
All right. I should have gone with my gut.
But Fantasy Star Online is a good guess as well. No worries. 10 points. 10 points. It's not easy to get 10 points in this. So well done. Good job, Faith. And that means you get the SEGA Lounge seal of approval, which is a real thing, and I'm going to send it to you afterward. Yes. Thank you very much for taking part in this, for bearing with me. Good job. So before I don't want to keep you too long, because I know you have stuff to do, but I just wanted to ask you a little bit about the game historian side of things. Yes. What does that entail exactly? How did you get into that, and why?
I tell you what it was. It was just I've video games aside, I've always had a real desire to learn about how humans do things. I love history. I love dinosaurs. I love everything to do with like anthropology, paleontology, architectural history, music history, film history. I'm a big film history buff as well. Do a bit of work in that field. I just love looking back and understanding why humans do things. And when it comes to video games, it's one of the best mediums for that because it moves so quickly. So we can go back 50 years to like, the early 70s where video games were kind of really just becoming what we know them as today, like digital things on screens and that rather than like mechanical games and things. And how quickly it advances, like within 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, just towards like the 90s is like incredible. When you
Mhm.
look at something like films or art or architecture, those changes are like more generational, like
Yeah.
30 years, 40 years, 50 years. Whereas with video games, like, just the change and the pace of change, because it's all depending on technology, and it's all wrapped up in that idea that we're on this big journey as humans to like, we've totally changed our world in the last like 50 years or so with technology coming on,
Yeah.
like digital
For
technology.
sure.
And video games are at the forefront of that in an entertainment sense. And there are more gamers in the world who have gaming as a hobby, if you like, than there are anything else. There's people that wouldn't say they were gamers, but then they'll have Candy Crush on their phone and stuff, or Wordle and stuff, and stuff. But you're playing video games. They're video games.
Yeah.
A lot man, sort of older people in big air quotes there, like that. I see they go, "Oh, gaming's for kids," and then you see them 10 minutes later playing Candy Crush, and you're like, "You're playing a video game." They're like, no, this isn't. It's like, it is a video game. It is a video game that you are playing. So, and I just think it's the fastest growing entertainment industry. It's the biggest gaming. It's the biggest entertainment industry on the planet by some way. Everybody loves it. It's bigger than film. It's bigger than TV. It's bigger than music.
Yeah.
And studying where it comes from, where it goes to, and it wasn't something I really got into. It was more just a desire to want to contribute to the ever growing information out there, whether it's on websites or in books I write, or doing stuff on the BBC or broadcast, whatever it might be. I just enjoy helping people learn about that, and being part of that, telling that story. And when you
Mhm.
get to speak to the people that were there, so one of my best like interviews I've done was with the guys that made 1080 snowboarding. And
Okay.
I'm a big, as I think I said earlier in this podcast, I'm a big extreme sports fan. So that was a bit of a thing for me to nail down as like I want to talk to you guys just because that game's so great on the N64. And talking to them, the way the conversation went, it became less about talking about how we make or how they made this game, and more about their lives as people from the UK living in Japan as young teenagers and how that went. And it was brilliant to do because then we learned so much more about the inside workings of like Nintendo and how they envisaged it and what they think now. A lot more than, and that's much more interesting. Like the human element is much more interesting than the game development side of it. So the fact that when I was
Agreed.
doing these interviews, I was seeing them and I was talking to them. I was seeing them realize that they were thinking about things they hadn't thought of, and being part of that process to get that information out is quite magical. It's quite
Yeah.
magical. And then and then like months later when the article goes out or whatever it is, and then other people read it and go, "Oh my god, I didn't know that about that game or about that developer or that person," and knowing that you've helped bring that to those fans, it's magic. It's magic.
Yeah.
I always I'm in awe of the people that make the games, and the more I speak to them, the more I interview them, I just think, I'm just happy to be part of helping you tell your story. Being that middle person, if you like, and
Mhm.
I just think it's something really important to me, and I know it's important to a lot of other people. So, calling myself a game historian, it might seem a little bit aloof or a little bit arrogant or whatever, but it's the truth. It's the truth. I've done interviews with people where we've learnt new things, and then we can document those things. I've also been part of some websites, especially through my Sonic collecting, where I've helped uncover like different variants of games and things like that, and documenting how to play games and things like on guides and that, and it all builds into that, and I just love doing it. It's a passion.
Yeah.
And I just want to keep those stories alive, especially because of how fast the video game industry moves. We lose so much information so quickly. It's not so much we lose lots of games, it's more a fact of we lose all the stories. Whereas with films, so let's say films or music, for example, like things like film, a really well-made film, or a really well-made album will stay with people forever, and then there'll be like things in the newspapers and stuff, won't there? Because it's more popular sort of culture than it is geeky video games.
Yeah,
we lose a lot of that story about the humans. Like we know so much more about Madonna than we ever do about Shigeru Miyamoto, for example. Do you know what I mean? As a person,
and it's not
in
really
the entertainment world.
The behind the scenes process is not documented. The inception of an album, the recording of an album, it's sometimes recorded, like the whole session is recorded in video. There are behind the scenes interviews and stuff.
DVDs, you get all the behind the scenes stuff.
Exactly.
Cast,
whereas
the director and all that. We hear all these
with video games, you don't know anything.
You never get that with games.
Yeah, especially the older games. Like we didn't even know sometimes who the people behind them were. They were like hidden behind pseudonyms and code names and stuff. Especially the Japanese developers, right? So it's nice that we have people like you, like trying to uncover those facts about the people that worked on these games. Yeah, awesome. Is there like you mentioned the 1080 guys, the Heroes of Might and Magic 2 developer? Are there any other like interviews that you
so I
have in your mind as like peak moments?
I've interviewed a few of the guys from Rare. Couple of those guys from Rare. I've interviewed the Sensible Software people. They were fun guys. Andy Davidson, who invented Worms. So many now. Yeah, I mean, most of them are ones that are probably a little bit more slightly obscure, like people like things like Sumo Digital and that, like not household names that you would instantly go to as, I know who that is, but they're still really influential in the industry.
Yeah, but our listeners know who they are.
I'm trying to think. The big ones though would be like the Heroes Might Magic 1080. I interviewed a few guys from Taito who made Bubble Bobble. Those guys, which was really interesting. That was a bit of a thing for me because Bubble Bobble is one of my favorite games as well. So I was very fortunate to get involved in that process. Even though it had to go through like a translator system because and so I wasn't directly talking to them, but I still got to ask some questions and things. I've also I've spoken to a few of the people involved in some of like PC games like Doom and Baldur's Gate and that, and but loads of people. I mean, mostly my day to day if I'm doing interviews is probably someone that you've never really heard of, but they were involved in a game you'd have heard of. So like you were saying before, they're not household names, a lot of the people, but they've done things like, they might have done the soundtrack for a game and people go, oh, I love that soundtrack in that game, or that they did the animations or something, part of the pixel art process or something, and people are like, oh, I love those graphics. And so, but yeah, in terms of household names, like definitely 1080, some of the Rare guys for a few of those Rare games. I'd have to go back on all my notes. A lot more bizarre ones as well, like because I like a lot of quirky games and stuff that people, and I like, again, being a historian, is like sometimes bringing something a bit more interesting. Like I did a making of this, like a history of / the making of a game called Days After Christmas, which is like the really rubbish Santa Claus game that was on the Mega Drive. And I hunted down the guy that made it. Was like, dude, your game's crap. He was like, yeah, it's all fun. I was like, can I just do a history of it though? And he was like, oh my god, you actually want to? And and again, we got new information about the development, and that guy was really happy that we help him tell the story of why the game wasn't very good.
Okay,
it's like, it wasn't actually his fault.
Awesome. Okay, that's great. So, where can people if you had to say, so if you want to know about all of these interviews, about all of these things that I've made, what would be the best way to point people towards?
Oh, well, I mean, if you're interested in the high quality, high caliber interviews, you'd have to buy Retro Gamer magazine every month because I do that work for them. But in general, though, if you just want to follow what I do, I try to connect as much as I can through my Twitter thingamabobber and that. But yeah, the problem is because I do magazine work, is when I do these sorts of podcasts, it's very hard for me to say go to this website and look at that, because obviously if you're a YouTuber or something, it's all there, isn't it? But yeah, unfortunately, you have to like get past a paywall of that it isn't of my making for like magazines and things, but they're all on.
But
they're
it's
all
probably
online,
worth it
like
for the
Readly.
quality.
You can do like an online subscription for like, Read It Digitally,
Yeah.
Retro Gamer.
Uh-huh.
Same with the Fusion magazines, all right for.
Yeah.
And there are a few spread around the internet. It's freelance stuff. So places like Nintendo Life or Time Extension, or trying to think other ones I've written for now, some Game Boy ones as well. So yes, unfortunately, that's or you have to go on the BBC and look stuff up on BBC.
Okay.
So unfortunately, I can't point you to one place.
But go to your Twitter account and which we'll
Yeah, go
find
to Twitter
people
and
will
there'll
find
be
on the show
things
notes,
there.
and then and you'll occasionally post stuff and where to find them, right? By the way, if you're talking about Fusion, and there's the Sega Force Mega book, are you involved with that?
I was hoping you were going to ask about this at one point. Yeah, so we've just launched a new Sega magazine in the same style as our other Fusion magazine. So it's small. It's like this size, like A5. Now we own the rights to Sega Force Mega or Sega Force. We just put the Mega on as a bit of a joke, really. But so it's a company called Newsfield back in the 80s and 90s. They did a magazine called Sega Force. And then when it got to Mega Drive, they called it Sega Force Mega. And then it kind of stopped after that. It didn't get into but because my boss owns the rights to Newsfield stuff, we can use this name. And it's just in the style of that. It looks the same as it would inside one of those magazines. And we do a mixture of retro. It's mainly retrospective stuff, Mega Drive and Mega CDs and the things you'd expect from a Sega magazine.
Yeah.
But we try to do new stuff as well. So we did like a good one on the Naomi system, and talking about that was awesome. We try and mix it between arcade, Sega consoles, and new stuff. We don't do as much new stuff. I'm trying to find something new. If I could find something new, it would be very helpful, wouldn't it? That typical, isn't it? So I did a review of. I'm trying to think of something new, just to show you that it's not all just retro. Yeah, I did a review of Sonic Superstars, for example. Yeah.
There we go.
Right, this is the very first issue that came out just around Christmas time. We're going to do it every 2 months going forward. Now, I've got something to say. Although I helped launch this, I am not actually writing for it too much myself. I probably will be there and there, but it's just what it is I do a lot of work for this company that we do this for, and it kind of felt right that once I help get it launched, there's a whole nother team that are working on it who just work on this, who are real big Sega heads. So it's a shame for me. It was just more a case of I didn't want to say that it's all mine, because it's not. There's a team. I just help because of my Sega connections. I just helped launch it a little bit. But yeah, so the second one's up. The second one's gone to the printers this week or early last week. And we're going to try and do it every 2 months under this. So it's Fusion Retro books. If you look, I'm not going to oversell it. It is what it is. We are stuck to a budget, so it's small. As you can see, it's a small size. It's not A4, but it's only £5. So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to keep it a minimal cost, and it goes up to like 60 pages. And we've got interviews, retrospectives, all sorts of things. But look, if you like Sega, it's a nice thing to buy. It's only every 2 months. It's a £5. It's a nice thing to keep up with and to have, as just saying, to have a cup of tea with and that, and just get a little bit of that nostalgia back, with some new stuff as well. So yes, please buy it if you can. And at the same time,
I think that's a nice pitch. Yeah, that's a nice pitch. Yeah, excellent. Very good. So Faith, thank you very much for coming. I have one last question for you, which is the last question I ask all of my guests. And are you familiar with blast processing?
Maybe.
Okay.
I might be familiar with that.
Yeah. So in the 90s, the Genesis in the US, right? They said, oh, we have blast processing. It makes the Genesis faster and more powerful than the competition. my question is, if you could add blast processing to anything in the world, what would it be and why?
Oh my god. I would add blast processing to the West Ham United central defender Zuma, who is the slowest ever centre back you're ever going to see. And if he had some blast processing, he would actually help us more than hinder us. That's what I would add blast processing to. Kurt Zuma, the football player.
That's a very good answer. Not what what I was expecting, but very good answer. Yeah. So, that comes from a very frustrated West Ham United supporter, it seems.
Oh, yeah.
That came straight from the heart. And
Straight
that's
from
what
the
we
heart.
like. That's what we like here at the SEGA Lounge. So, Faith, thank you very much for coming. It was a pleasure to have you on. Hopefully, you can come back sometime, like to collaborate on other like types of episodes and share the awesome knowledge that you have on Sega and video games in general. But thank you very much for coming.
Lovely. Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thanks again to Faith for coming on the SEGA Lounge and sharing her story. Do check her out and all her projects. Hopefully, we can get Faith back on the show soon to join one of our discussions, and please stay tuned because we have several of those lined up for this season. That said, next week we have another very interesting chat coming up, and one that fans of the Dreamcast and its indie and community-driven scene will not want to miss. Thank you very much for listening this week. Remember to share the episode with friends. And if you're enjoying the show, do leave us a positive review on your podcast platform of choice so that more people can learn about our cozy little lounge. Thanks again for listening. Have a great week, loungers, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye. The SEGA Lounge, hosted by me, KC, and part of Radio Sega's network of live shows and podcasts. Theme song and incidental music by OSC. Got any suggestions? Drop me an email to podcast@thesegalounge.com. Find us at The SEGA Lounge on X, Twitter, and Instagram, at thesegalounge.com on Blue Sky, and be sure to check out our Twitch and YouTube channel for live video content. You can find previous episodes of the show by going to thesegalounge.com, on the TerraPlayer app, and wherever you listen to podcasts. A Mixed On Productions podcast.